Welcome back to another episode of the B Sports Podcast. I'm your host, B Hooks. And before we begin, you guys make sure you like, subscribe the podcast, baby. We are on our way to 100 subscribers right now. We are currently at 33 subscribers. Thank you guys for the love. In this episode, we're going to be talking about every NBA transaction that has happened over the course of the few months. So if your team is trash, hey, my bad. We ain't gonna be talking about it or discussing them. But if you leave your comments, down below, if you want me to comment on your team, if I don't get to them, I will. This is B Sports Podcast, baby. Let's go. All right, man, here we go. We got some breaking news, man. Some breaking news, definitely coming from Phoenix, guys. So, y'all let me know how y'all feel about these trades. So, Phoenix, they were able to trade for Bradley Beal. It was a three-team trade that sent Chris Paul to the Wizards, man. So, basically, Chris Paul, you're pretty much you got traded to the Wizards and you got traded to the Warriors, but we'll get into that, man. Like, how do y'all feel about Bradley Beal going to the Phoenix Suns, man? That is a tough lineup to deal with. You got Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant. I think they signed Eric Gordon as well, and Bobo. A lot of people, are down on Bobo, but uh, to me, he just don't get enough playing time. If he got enough playing time, he could be a real. I think he could be a real stud in this league, man. What do you guys feel? What do you guys think? If he should be, but um, just looking at the Phoenix Suns roster, and they still have DeAndre Ayton, like this starting five that they have: Devin Booker, KD, Bradley Beal, DeAndre Ayton, and pretty much and whoever else they're gonna have at that wing. Guys, like this is a super team. This is a super team, and I'm not sure if okay. Here we go. If KD doesn't win a championship this year with this team, it's going to be a lot of questions on his leadership, like as far as like if he's a real leader, if he can lead a team without having to play with the likes of Steph Curry, the team that they were up on and they lost, and then he got traded to the Warriors. You guys know about that whole fiasco, right? So in my opinion, man, if he can't get it done with this team, because Bradley Beal is going to come in and he's not going to be a player where he's just going to be a shoot first. Yeah, he's going to shoot the ball, but I think they all can kind of mesh well. And for them to still keep DeAndre Ayton as well, and they're over the salary cap, if they don't do it this year, KD, I don't know what's gonna get it done for you, brother. I know you still got, 3 to 4 more years of your prime as far as playing as a top tier talent in this league. So man, I'm hoping that you get it done. I do want to see you get a ring, but we'll see, y'all. That was the Phoenix Suns. Here we go. Let's go to Portland. Let me tell you guys. So this is my thing, right? When we're talking about Portland. So I know Dame, Dame, he requested a trade. He wants to go to Miami, right? So in order for him to go to Miami, there's really not like a lot of players that they would want to trade, like Tyler Hero. Would you trade a Tyler Hero for a Dame Lillard just straight up? Like, I know Dame has been with the organization for a while. He's been an outstanding citizen there, working in the community, all these type of things, and they want to do right by Dame, right? Even the management. But if you have them to where they can only select one team to trade you to, who on Miami are you going to be getting back? If I'm not getting back like a Bam Adebayo, a Jimmy Butler, or somebody who, because first of all, who's in Portland? First of all, who's moving to Portland? What is there to do in Portland, guys? Like I don't know. So in other words, I would be trying to get to Miami too. If I was Dave, I'd be trying to get to Miami too. But there's no players that really wants to go to Portland. And if they're only trying to trade like a certain amount of players, and draft picks for Dame Lillard, it's not fair to Portland. He should at least have like 3 to 4 more teams to give them options, because after you, there's not going to be another Dame Lillard. And they have to fill the seats. They don't want to get, they don't want their team to, to get relinquished and go to another city, or another state or whatever. So, like, I don't know what's gonna go on there, but when that trade happens, I will be updating you guys on that. And just trying to see where he's going. I just don't think that it's smart on Portland's behalf to just trade Dame Lillard for a couple of players that could be in the D League this year or next year, and it's just iffy. I don't know. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about that, man. Because I know it's a lot of talk where when a player requests a trade, it's a problem. But if the organization trades you to a team that you may not even want to be on, then it should be okay. So in this instance, is this still does this work out the same way where it's Dame, he just wants to go to Miami, so should Portland just send him to Miami when they're not going to get the necessary pieces that they need, um, that they need back from a talent like his? Okay, let's go Sacramento Kings. Psych. San Antonio Spurs. I mean, only thing that I really have on San Antonio Spurs is they signed Wimbyama, and over the course of these, what did he play in? He played in like three. I think he played in 3 summer league games, and he had one of those games. He had like 28 points, 10 rebounds. He had a double double. He played really good, but boy, I don't think he should have made that comment when he says the NBA is soft. Because first of all, you playing in the summer league, bruh. You playing in the summer league, bro. Like those players, they're trying to make it to the NBA, right? So let me see you go up against Joel Embiid, dog him out. Let me see if you go against Jokic and you dog him out, and then I'll be like, yeah, he right. NBA soft. Yeah, Wembanyama, you right. NBA is soft. But until I see that, bro, you need to go ahead and get in the weight room. You need to go ahead and try and get your NBA body, which normally takes about 2 to 3 years for an international player to kind of get used to the NBA game, and like to bring that real dog out of them in the NBA. But we're gonna see. They're putting a lot of their chips in him. So maybe Tim Duncan is his mentor. Maybe he could help him out as well too, guys. But really, they just in the summer and in the summertime. I mean, they did get Reggie Bullock, from a trade from the Mavs, but I mean, I don't see them really being in a playoff position for a couple of years now. Toronto Raptors trash, Utah Jazz trash, Washington Wizards trash. I mean, They did get Jordan Poole, which we all knew that situation was going to happen, right? Like, even though he's a young talent, Jordan Poole is a young talent, but once you go, once you start looking at like as far as going against Draymond Green, which he's been there for, you know, his whole career, and for them to win those championships that he was a part of, you're really not going against him, right? Like if you're trying to go against Draymond, even though they got into that scuffle at the beginning of the year, but Jordan Poole, when you was in the playoffs, boy, you got exposed, and it didn't look good. So that's why you're over there. So hopefully, you know, you can get it back together while you're in Washington. But yeah, your TV time is gone. I mean, you've gotten your money, so definitely if you just work on your game, stay humble. I was hearing there was a lot of reports coming out of ESPN, that you wasn't humble anymore. You didn't practice sometimes, because you already got your money. But only the greats of the greats. Once they get their money, they're still focused on being that player that they used to be. Take a note out of Michael Jordan book or LeBron book or Kobe book. Those are the three greatest, shooting guard, small forwards in our league that we've ever seen before. So if you want to be on that type of talent, you still got to put that work in, man. You still got to put that work in. Let's see. The Milwaukee Bucks, they signed Malik Beasley. He came from the Lakers. Jay Crowder, he's going to return on a 1-year deal. AJ Green agreed to a deal as well. That was officially announced, which he can be a really good defender for them. That's what they were lacking. When Giannis had got hurt, they were actually lacking defense as far as when he was hurt. So just bringing him in. Hopefully Giannis stays healthy. Because to me, they should have never lost. They should have never lost to Miami in the first round. They should have never lost to Miami in the first round. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Miami is good. Jimmy, Hemi buckets, Kevin Love, and them over there. Adebayo. Um, they're a really good team, but I just don't think that they're that type of team to where they should have beat Milwaukee. If Giannis played for those first two games, they probably would have split, or Milwaukee probably would have went up 2-0. And then when you're coming back from an injury the way that Giannis had, he wasn't 100%. And pretty much like who else is out there in the East after you beat Milwaukee? There is Boston, and we're about to get to them. We are definitely about to get to Boston because the trade, which was a blockbuster deal that they had got. So first of all, what happened today? Jaylen Brown, he agreed to a 5-year extension worth over $300 million. Wow! So he agreed on a 5-year extension over $300 million, and he can't go left, or he can't go right. He can't go right. He don't like going right. But you know what? Hey, um, I'm not gonna hate on them. Y'all NBA players, man, y'all get y'all money. Y'all get y'all money. Y'all get y'all money. Because what people don't understand is they look at the players and they say, man, how is he getting $300 million? Well, the TV the TV companies, TNT, ESPN, all these stations that's broadcasting the games, and then you got the owners, the owners are getting, $1 billion for their players playing, and these players are, having to get their money either through contracts or or endorsements or anything like that. So, I mean, once you really look at it and see how the cookie crumbles, you will whether would you rather take 300 million or 2 billion, because that's what the owners get. So let's stop all this talk about these players are making too much money and they shouldn't do this and they shouldn't do that, or he can't shoot free throws or he can't do that. Well, you know what? Everybody's not perfect. If I get a player like Shaq, I'm not getting a player like Shaq to shoot free throws. I'm getting a player like Shaq to dominate in the paint, dunk on everybody down there, and let's make sure we get a championship while we got to. But back on the Boston Celtics, man, KP, Kristaps Porzingis joined them in a 3-team trade that was with the Wizards and the Grizzlies. So let me tell you, it depends. It depends. Okay, Boston's gonna win this trade because they let go of Marcus Smart, and he was one of their glue guys, right? He was one of those players that you really need. Where NBA, like the best of the best teams, they always had that one player that was like a little off, that just didn't have it. Like you got 24 crayons, he only got about 21 of them in there, right? So you got to look at it. They lost him, right? And they got KP. Now, if this is the New York Kristaps Porzingis, oh, the league is on notice. The league is on notice where they can really dominate. They can really be scary in the league. Like I'm talking about championship after championship after championship because Jalen Brown, he's gonna get better. You know, they're both really good talented players. They really are. But like I said, if they get New York KP, they're going to be something to deal with. But if they get like Dallas, KP, you in the starting lineup, you play about 8 games in a row and then you get hurt, that's not going to help. That's definitely not going to help, man. Like, we really got to be able to see KP from when he played in New York because his New York days was crazy. It was crazy, man. So, shouts out to Boston, though. Let's get into Dallas, man. Let's get into the Mavs. They signed Seth Curry to a 2-year deal. Dante Exum agrees. He agreed to a 1-year deal. So he was actually, some years back, he was actually a high draft pick, but he had just came back from overseas. They re-signed Kyrie Irving to a 3-year deal, um, and they signed Grant Williams on a sign and trade. Right, so which I think was very good for them. I think it was very good that they re-signed Kyrie Irving because they let go of so much. When they made a trade for Kyrie in the middle of the season, they made, they sent off so much like in defensive that they just had to have Kyrie come back because if he didn't, I don't know what was going to happen. But you got to look at it, man. Kyrie Irving. I mean, I know y'all just seen his Drew League debut. He put up a triple double. I think it was like 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, something like that. But with him and Luka Doncic, I really think that they can really work it out to where, because Kyrie, he can play off the ball and Luka is ball dominant. So adding Seth Curry on the wing, if they're driving, penetrating the paint, they're all gonna collapse, and you just pass it out to either one of them for a spot up three, or you can just ISO. You can ISO Luka, ISO Kyrie, to get your points there. But I really think if once they have a full year going through, the off season practices, mandatory workouts together, getting to know each other, from the course of 82 game season, other than, when they played, I think they only had like 25 to 30 games together. I think they're really going to be a force to be reckoned with. And a lot of people are sleeping on them. A lot of people are sleeping on them. I got two more teams that I want to bring up, man, before we get out of here, guys. So the Golden State Warriors, they re-signed Draymond Green for a 4-year deal. They let Jordan Poole, go. They traded Jordan Poole for Chris Paul, man. Like, how is this gonna work? So you have Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green all on the same team, right? So if you look at it, man, this is Chris Paul's final. I think this is his final hurrah of trying to get a ring. Like, you didn't win with James Harden, you didn't win with Kevin Durant, you didn't win with Blake Griffin. Um, all these players that you played with that were top notch, and they were at the prime of their game too. So you didn't win with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton when you guys made it to the championship and lost, to a healthy Giannis team. Um, this is your last hurrah, man. But they still got it. Like Steph and Clay and Draymond, I still believe that they can still turn it around and see what they got. But I'm curious to see how this is going to work out. I do know that Chris Paul and Draymond Green, they did have some differences before, where Draymond just really didn't like Chris Paul for whatever reason. So hopefully they can sit down as men, and really talk this thing out and try and get it together and try and go for a championship because um, on paper, like a lot of these teams are looking really good, man. Like on paper, a lot of these teams are looking real good, but it just depends on how fast they can mesh. Whose ego is not going to get in the way. Do I want this person to score? Or do I want to get my buckets? It just depends on what we're doing at that time. And the coach, if Steve Kerr can galvanize, the players, or, on either team, like in Phoenix, the coach is going to be very important because you got so much star power on these teams where they want their points, but they want to win a championship. So really, what's more important? And last but not least, man, let's get on these LA Lakers. So the LA Lakers, man, they re-signed Rui Hachimura for 3 years. Jackson Hayes got signed from the Pelicans, which is a sleeper. I think he's a sleeper, man. I don't know why they let him go. He's a pretty good young talent. Torian Prince, he's going to be one of those players where he's like a um he's like one of those players where you come in, when you have to, when you have to court and you hooping and you looking around, you like, okay, I need a good starting five. So you always want to have a good big man, right? But you always need that one player that like hustles. Like no matter what, like whether it's like game 3, game 4, in 100-degree weather, they still gonna be hustling after the ball, diving after the balls, creating, doing pick and rolls, like really playing basketball. He's one of those guys that I wouldn't mind playing with. I like people that hustle. They re-signed Austin Reeves. Cam Reddish agreed to a 2-year deal. They re-signed D'Lo to a 2-year deal. And the shocker to me, I don't know how Miami let him go because he was so instrumental for them, in this finals run that they had, was Gabe Vincent, guys. Gabe Vincent is now a Los Angeles Laker, man. So that's really going to be a shocker as well because, first of all, they got younger. If AD if AD can, and I'm gonna use the analogy that Charles Barkley had. AD, it ain't me. This is what Charles Barkley said, whatever. But if he's not street clothes, they call him street clothes because he's always getting hurt, right? I know, man, that is so messed up. But if he can be in a basketball uniform more than he is in his street clothes, then definitely I think they have a realistic chance of getting another championship before LeBron retires, man. Because ultimately, he only got about another, I say, a good solid 2 to 3 more years of being at his top peak performance, and then after that, he'll probably dwindle down a little bit. But see, the thing is, like, he already averages 25, 26 a game. When I say he's gonna dwindle down, he might dwindle down to like 20 points a game, and that's still better than your favorite player. Okay. Anyways, uh, but yeah, man, y'all let me know in the comment description. Like, if I wasn't able to get to your team, let me know and we can have a discussion about it, talk about it, man. I look forward to this NBA season. Football season is up next, and we will be discussing that on the next podcast. And this is B Sports Podcast, man. Make sure you like, subscribe. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the 33 subscribers that we have on our way to the road to 100 subscribers, baby. This is the Speed Sports Podcast, and we out. Peace.